All right, welcome back, everybody. So we want to talk about one of the most powerful ways to grow your business and one of the most organic. Obviously, there's lead gen through websites and through farming communities and things like that, but just being out and about every single day is something that you can really utilize to meet more people in the events that you attend and also through your existing client database. So this is a big topic. We're going to scratch the surface on it, but I want to get you in the mentality of this, is that you need to meet more of the people that your network knows.
Yeah.
And don't just think about your network as your database. This is also, you know, the people that might be at professional development courses, or, you know, we're members of the golf course, so it might be those people. It could be the people that you do volunteer stuff with, school council, you know, whatever it happens to be. Any of those things are part of your network, although those people might not be in your database. They might know what you do and they can pass people off. And this is even interesting because when sometimes you meet somebody who knows a realtor, who trusts that realtor, maybe it's a brother of theirs sometimes, or they have an obligation to this person, sometimes they'll refer you to their friends because they like what you do even more than their brother does, but they personally feel obligated to end up working with that person. Or if someone says, I'm going to be happy in my house for the next 20 years, then you say, great. And then by just being a great individual to them, then they can refer you to people as well. So everybody becomes that source.
I know that you have a list that you're going to go through as for ways to do this, but I just want to, I remember having and I don't know if he's online or not, but I had a conversation with Joel Gilliam once that I thought was just great. And I don't remember where Joel was going, but he was going to something. I was like, what are you doing tonight? Because Joel's a friend of mine. And whatever he said, which I don't remember, I was like, what? Like, really? And he just said, and this was about 1.5 years ago, and he's like, I've made a point to myself that at this time in my life, I don't say no to invitations. Like, it doesn't matter, like, I don't judge something by the quality, but like if a friend or an acquaintance or someone of mine is inviting me to something that has a group of, their friends or their peers or their family, and I'm invited to it, like, I'm going to go and I'm going to show up. And he's like, and it has made a massive world of difference to me. Huge in my business, right? So sometimes it can literally be as simple as, and I know we're going to go through this list, and this stuff is really, really good, but it's not always about searching out brand new things, because there's a lot. I think of the things that I say no to, and we all only have so much time in our life, but there's a lot of opportunity within the existing group of people we know as well. Without having to, join 100 clubs either.
Just the power of showing up. I think Woody Allen said 80% of success is just showing up. Might not have been Woody Allen, but anyways, the point is that that's sort of the saying out there, and there's truth to it. Because just look at your Facebook. How many times do you say, so-and-so invited you to this event, here's an upcoming event, and what are you saying to those? Are you saying no, maybe? Most of you just don't even look at them, and every once in a while, say yes. That could be one thing right there. That's not even on my list, but it's just like these events come up constantly. Read your community newsletters. Find out what's happening. We stumbled across our community fair this weekend and went and popped in and said hello
and had
to some people.
Yeah, and ended up having 2 great conversations that we left being like, God, it's great we came here, right? It's unplanned, but stuff like that just happens if you show up.
That's right. So here's the concept, is that you need to position yourself in the path of opportunity. And that is that the opportunities are out there all the time, but you need to be out there to get them. You need to be in the path of that opportunity. That's what you think is, boy, that was lucky. It wasn't luck, because these opportunities happen all the time. You're just never in the right place. So if you put yourself out there, you'll get lucky more often. In addition to that, people move once every 10 years. So on average, 1 in 10 are going to buy this year, and maybe this fluctuates, maybe it's 7 years, maybe it ends up being 10, but if you just say 1 in 10, you're going to hit yourself on the conservative side. So every 10th person you meet who's of the age is someone who's going to be making a move, and you can be a part of that. So I think of this just like if you have a listing or a buyer, and we're going to do this at a future session, I booked it in for October, where we're going to talk about turning 1 transaction into 3 transactions, because your next transaction is embedded in that existing transaction. If you have a listing, you want to meet the neighbors. If you have a buyer, you want to do this. If I have a friend and I have a contact, I'm curious enough that I want to meet their friends. I want to expand my network from there in a very authentic way. The one thing I'm going to tell you right now is don't do anything you're purely not interested in. Don't say, I'm going to go to Toastmasters just because I want to meet people and do real estate transactions. Go to Toastmasters because you want to become the best speaker and the best communicator you possibly can, and that authenticity will show through. You know, if you want a charity, pick something that you're truly passionate about, and if you're not a charitable person in that way, you know what I mean, or you don't find something, don't do that. Like, don't do that. Join a sports club. Join something else. Join a knitting club. Like, I don't care what you join.
Because your bad energy in a place that you don't want to exist is not going to help you make any friends.
And it's just people will say, like, oh, like you're out there hucking business cards? Like, you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, they don't use the people that huck business cards. Those people they try to avoid. So, okay. So we're just going to go blah down this list. And we're not going to spend much time on each one because they're pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
So I'll do a few, then you can do a few. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay, so
I'm ready.
So first of all, meetup.com, find anything you're interested in and meet new people that way.
I know we're not supposed to be long-winded on this. In general, if you don't want to join meetup.com, next time you have a few minutes on the internet, it is worth just going to meetup.com because you can think of the crazy, most precise, random thing that like 3 people in the world might be interested in, and there's a meetup for that. Like, it's fascinating.
Okay, we have to tell one more story.
Okay.
So Tina Tolley, one of our realtors, has a Shiba Inu. What's the name of the dog breed?
Shiba.
So
Little
anyways,
Mika, happy birthday, Mika. It was her birthday on the weekend.
Oh, happy birthday, Mika, one of our dog's best friends. But anyway, so Shiba Inu goes to a dog park.
Randomly.
It's just like, oh, I got to walk my dog. So goes to the dog park. Dog park she goes to very often, but takes the dog. And all of a sudden someone says to her, oh, you must be here for the Shiba meetup. And Tina's like, what? And sure enough, there's this meetup of all the dogs like hers. So she meet like half dozen other dog owners that have the same dog just by showing up. It's like literally by getting out there and having conversations with people, she put herself in the path of opportunity. And if you walk around the community, you meet people like it's crazy. So obviously BNI is another one, just a formal networking event, and that is a place where you can get to know other people's businesses and referrals get passed.
Invite people to a CIR client appreciation event and ask them to bring their friends. Invite somebody to any event and ask them to bring their friends. Golf, concert, festival, dinner, etc.
That's a key there is ask them, say, hey, do you know anybody else that might want to come? You know, I have a couple tickets. Why don't you invite somebody? And that's the key because that way you expand your network.
Stuff like that is good for, like I think of like the Rocky Mountain Festival, like Wine and Beer Fest, or like the co-op, like the ones where it's like you're not super stuck, but it is fun to be in a group and you kind of hang out collectively, but you can, like, that's a really good one to do a thing. Bring coffee or something delicious to someone's place of work for them and their coworkers. Volunteer and support a charity. Quick shout out, we had some of our realtors come out and support the jail and bail at ARCS on Saturday, and then a larger group come out on Sunday and sponsor one of our water stations. Thank you, all of you, very, very much for attending.
Ronald McDonald, Hustle for the House.
Very grateful.
And that one, too, invite somebody to come with you. It's like one thing for you to show up, you can also invite someone to come with you as a friend, and then they can invite somebody, and you can kind of bring this little
as far as running goes, you could do that and run as a group.
Yeah, or volunteer as a group or whatever. So, awesome. Lots of stuff. Continue. You want to continue?
Sure. Attend a conference or a professional development event like the Leading RE one and meet a bunch of people who are sending referrals to Calgary and let that person be you.
Yep.
Meet your neighbors. That is such a good one. I was outside gardening and and I'm friendly with the neighbor across the street from me, and not like ridiculously friendly, but friendly enough. And about a month and a half ago, and obviously not a realtor, but he came across, but he knows what we does. And he's like, hey, my kids are this and that, and they don't really hear, and my wife, whatever. And I think in the next couple of years, and I'm nervous about the value, but when the time comes, would you have someone to? If I had never had a conversation with him and ignored my neighbor, that conversation would not happen.
Yep, absolutely.
So neighbors. Attend community events. Like I mentioned, we just attended one at the Willow Ridge Community Association and had some great conversations. Chat with parents at your kids' school or sports or other activities. I took my niece to the park for the first time. That was just like me and her alone. She's 4, and I was there for 3 hours. And it was interesting, like being a non-parent, what this is like, because you go and there's this park and like all the parents kind of hover on the outsides, not knowing anyone, and all the kids play on the inside, and like you're kind of nice to other people's kids, and like then like the kid you're with meets a friend, and they start kind of hanging out, and so you and like the kind of other parents are there chatting. But it's interesting. So at the end of it, and I was like, I don't really know what to do with this, but there was another couple who ended up having a daughter who ended up being like BFFs by the end of the day with the girl I brought. We ended up like they invited us over to have snacks with them, and it was this nice conversation. They're like, what do you do? And I mentioned I'm in real estate. They're like, we're trying to sell our house in Tuscany. Like, do you know anyone? Like, honestly, it's crazy what happens if you just have a conversation with people.
Put yourself in the path of opportunity.
I know, and I'm not saying it's that easy, but like I was having this moment being like, if you just talk to people, like it's amazing how many people are interested in real estate. Like
everyone is. Everyone has to.
Everybody is. Yeah, it's
whether
crazy.
They're renting or not. Like they have to be.
They want to talk about
Everyone needs a place to live.
Okay, you go.
Join a gym, and then I put in brackets and actually go.
That one's hard.
That's a big one. But even a group fitness class, like people always hang out beforehand. We go to spin sometimes, and there's people hanging out beforehand, and you're chit-chatting, and there's people hanging out after, and they're chit-chatting. So you can just meet people that way. The other thing, too, I want to go back to this chat with your kids or parents, schools, activities, and things like that. Don't be the person that knows everybody by, oh, that's Madison's mom, or that is Jerry's mom, or whatever else like that.
Like how we know the names of our dogs.
The dog
friends.
park is like, I don't know the name of any human there. I just know all their dogs' names.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. But actually, once you're doing there, you're laughing and introduce yourself. Hey, I'm Lindsey. I'm Heidi's dad, whatever it is. I hate that. I don't like to say that I'm a dog's dad. I'm Heidi's caretaker, owner.
Come on.
I said I would never do that. Never that guy. Someone shares a story about their kid, and I'm like, oh, well, my dog did this the other day. It's like, no, I'm not going to be that guy.
You are that guy.
I'm not that guy. We do have an image, though, whenever someone says, what kind of dog is that? I just open my phone and show an image of the 4 Swiss Mountain Dogs lined up in a row, because it's the easiest way to explain it.
When you get home, you have to look at Heidi's cute face and tell her that you're not her dad. She'll die.
All right, so those are a few ideas with networking. I just want to talk about referrals for a second, because I'm going to share a little guilty thing that I have here. I hate asking for referrals. I just think it puts a sense of guilt. It puts the person in an awkward position where they don't want to have to answer because they don't want to say no, but they don't, maybe they wouldn't appreciate the transaction or something like I just, but I'll tell you, if you ask for referrals, it works. And you'll get a ton of business off of it. And you can call people up. You
just need a genuine way to ask. It's not a bad thing to ask for business.
You have to do it, in my opinion, the right way. But Mike Ferry, don't confuse that with Tom Ferry, but Mike Ferry, his whole thing, and Brian Buffini as well, their whole training thing is around everything you do, at the end of it, you ask for a referral. And even you say to people, hey, we've been friends for a long time. You've never given me any referrals. Who do you know that's thinking of buying or selling? And I'm just like, whoa, whoa, don't shit.
That's a guilt trip.
Don't shit on your friends. So, anyways, this is
only shit on your husbands.
Only shit on your husbands. That's right. That's right. Which, yes, we have a good shitting relationship. Yep. So here's some ideas that you can do to ask for referrals in a more authentic way. Actually, one situation I will give you is if you do something for your client. Like you fix something, like, oh my gosh, like, thank you so much. What can we do to repay you? And I just literally, and I'm always joking when I say it, it's kind of tongue in cheek, but I'm like, tell everyone. Just seriously, tell everyone you know. And honestly, they'll be like, give me like 5 of your cards. Like, give me a bunch of your cards. I got coworkers. I'll do that. So anytime you're in that position, that's the way that I say it. They say, how can I repay you? Just tell everyone you know. Like, that's my business. Okay, so here's a few ideas, alternatives. Home investment reviews. You're doing these. Ryan's going to talk about them in the class. Chloe did our agent pursuit video on it, our business mastery video on it. Branding change. And then once you're done the home investment review, just say, you know what, our clients are really enjoying these. Do you know anybody else that might be interested in one of these? I'd love to share the content with them and do the same thing. And someone can be like, oh, no, actually and you just ask for a referral, but you're actually doing it from I'd like to add value to this person.
Right.
You're thinking about them, not about you. Continue.
Happy Home Contest. So if you have a list of people that you are inviting to these contests, send it out to everybody and be like, hey, by the way, your friends can enter. And then there's a chance that they might click off some of those boxes that will put you in their database. Best My Nest memberships. Who do you know that might be interested in one? Anyone you know that is thinking of doing anything to their home that would like to save some money on it is a good person to have this conversation with. And
then sorry to just break there for a second, because when you invite somebody, say, hey, I'm going to set you up in this Best My Nest membership. It's amazing. You have all these vendor things. And then you ask the question, hey, do you know anybody else that might be interested in that? And that's an awesome, awesome way. Once you've added a ton of value, do you know anybody else that might be interested in this? We got a ton of them. So,
create shareable content. So stuff like the new first-time home buyers incentive, right? Like put information like that out there. Updates on what's happening in your community. Stuff like that is word of mouth and other people want to know. Put that out there. That's great stuff to put on your Facebook feeds.
And then people can share it. You can ask them, share this with anybody else that might think it's valuable.
Yeah. And here's actually something interesting. So I wrote I don't know if you guys listen to 660 News, but we have a bi-weekly 660 News CIR Realty real estate report that runs. And a couple of weeks ago, I wrote content on the new first-time home buyer incentive and when it launched. And it was a little bit of information. It can only be 30 seconds. But Stephen McDonald, one of our agents, emailed me and said, I had a client that called, and the end of all of these are like, call your CIR realtor to ask for more information. So Stephen emailed me, he's like, hey, I had somebody call me about this thing they heard that CIR was doing on the radio and they needed more information, but I don't know what that ad was. Can you let me know? And it was something about home buyers, but he wasn't too sure. So I wrote him back being like, oh, this is it. Your client's probably asking for more information on this. And I was like, good information gets people asking questions.
Yeah,
isn't that interesting? So
true.
when you had that written here, I was like, people are interested in that. Make sure you're getting that content out. And we are bombarded with it, right? Like as in our profession, we see that stuff everywhere and we are so biased to thinking that like everyone else has. Nobody else has because their entire Facebook feed isn't realtors and mortgage brokers and home inspections and banks, right? Like it's a different world. So don't feel people are inundated with it because they're not. Ask at the end of a transaction for a satisfaction survey, and host a housewarming party for the client. I'm going to mention something that Tina Tolley does because I think that this is totally great. But she does something really fun when she closes a transaction with somebody that was a referral. So I have a good friend whose name is Emily, and I referred Emily to Tina at one point because Emily was. Emily, hopefully nobody knows Emily, but she was a single girl. She was looking for something specific. She had very, very specific criteria in a realtor. She had met Tina before. She was like, is there anyone that I've met that I know? So I referred her to Tina. And when the deal was done, Tina took Emily and I out to kind of like celebrate that Emily got a condo. So since then, Emily has referred Tina to a couple of her other friends. And whenever Emily's friend or whoever it was goes as a celebration party, Tina takes Emily and the new friend to go do something, and it's like this super, super fun thing. And I was with my friend Emily recently, and she was like, oh, I'm so excited, like my friend just bought a house, and like Tina calls and like, we all get to go for dinner, right? Like it encourages meeting new people and getting that relationship out, and I just thought that was such a good idea.
You teach people how to treat you, and you want to reward the behaviors that happen. A lot of people say, oh yeah, if we close a transaction, we're going to do this big thing, which is awesome, because I think you should do that. And don't forget as well that the moment the referral happens, send them something. Send them a $25 Starbucks card. Send them a Cineplex night out. Send them something that says, thank you for thinking of me. Thank you for putting my name out there. Thank you for trusting me to contact a person that you know. That's a whole nother meeting of itself, ways that you can acknowledge referrals. But you literally teach people how to do it. And if someone feels good about doing it and referring you to them or referring them to someone, then they will look for opportunities to do that. You want to stay top of mind. You want to recognize that. That's all this is.
Yep.
See, people will say to you, oh, if I hear about anybody, for sure I'll refer you. But they don't walk around with a real estate lens. You sort of send something out, and then you have about 3 weeks of them thinking about you in real estate contacts. But on the 4th week, something happens at work. Someone says they're going to, thinking about moving to a condo, and they're just like, oh, that's nice. Okay, well, we're still at that event this weekend. And they're not looking through the same lens. You have to constantly be proactive about real estate referrals, meet people that your database knows, get out there and network. Super, super powerful. You could build an entire business around this concept alone.
Love it. Those are really good tips. I'm sorry that we're a bit over. We will wrap up quickly and we will not keep you any longer. Hopefully we will see some of you out at our Super Huddle on Wednesday. And if not, we will see you at the Business Mastery meeting with Teal Tatum talking about building a property management business next Monday. So thanks for being with us this morning, guys.
Thanks, everyone. See you next week.